welcome in. First off, let me know that you can see and hear me. How is the audio, guys? Welcome, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about how to make your journey with tarot a little bit easier. So I know that I was incredibly overwhelmed when I was learning tarot. And so I thought it would be really fun to come here and talk a little bit about some of the things that helped me not be so overwhelmed. And so basically, we're just going to talk about a few tips that I have about how to not be overwhelmed with your tarot journey. So if you are learning tarot right now, go ahead and let me know in the comments. And hello to everybody there. Can you guys hear me? Oh, Vanessa says we can hear you. Awesome. Welcome in, everybody. So this is the first time I've been on a Facebook Live for a really long time. So welcome if you are not in the community. If you're tuning in from YouTube or Facebook or wherever, I'm really excited to be here with you guys. Feel free to ask any questions along the way. And hi, Shar. Hi, Shar. How's it going? I'm so excited you guys are here. So let me know if you're somebody who struggles with learning tarot. I know for me, when I first started trying to learn tarot, it felt really overwhelming because there's so many cards and I was trying to figure out how to memorize all their meanings. And I think that that's something a lot of people try to do, like maybe you have flashcards or you have written down notes and you're trying to memorize them. And what I found is I just ended up feeling more and more frustrated. Nothing made sense. And it would have been impossible for me to have tried to remember all those meanings. So let's talk about some of the things that I did. By the way, I was already doing lives on TikTok every single morning. I was reading oracle cards. So reading oracle and tarot at the same time can be really nice as well. So if you're somebody who wants to read oracle too, that can also feel really supportive. But the interesting thing is I've been doing these oracle readings in my community for quite some time. And I was very specific about choosing decks that had keywords on them so that I could really riff off of those keywords as I was doing my live videos. In fact, I had even taken some decks that didn't have keywords. And there's a specific crystals deck that I have that I really liked. And I had actually taken a Sharpie and I read every single card in the book, and it was a big deck. It took on the deck. So I had kind of already used this method already with oracle cards for my readings in my TikTok live every morning. Oh, by the way, hi, James. Hi, Amy. It's a little bit harder for me to see you guys. I have a couple different screens I have to look at to see the Facebook comments, but welcome in, guys. So anyway, I've been doing my TikTok lives for quite some time. I had already developed this like keyword system of like reading through keywords with my oracle cards. And then I go and I try to do like this memorization thing for tarot, and it totally didn't work. Have any of you guys tried to memorize meanings for tarot? Anyway, I just felt really lost, and I felt like this might be too complicated for me. I might not be able to do this, right? So anyway, I had this idea and I was like, what if I assigned keywords to each of the tarot cards? So just like what I did for that deck, the oracle deck, I did the same thing for my tarot deck. So you can see here, I have a little piece of washi tape that says manifestation on the magician card. I started with a Rider-Waite deck, but what I found is, and I think I got rid of that deck, and I wrote it like in the little margins on the bottom because it had a border on it, but I just couldn't connect to it. So then I labeled Intuitive Night Goddess deck, which is great, but what I found is it didn't have all of the regular tarot cards. Like it did, but they were renamed and it felt a little confusing as a beginner. So then I grabbed the Oh my God, the Light Seers Tarot. So this is the deck that I really started to feel like I connected with tarot. I do like my Intuitive Night Goddess deck as well, don't get me wrong, but especially as a beginner, this deck was so much better, so much easier. I felt like I really resonated with the imagery on it. So I think another key, in addition to like the keywords, is making sure that not only you have a deck that you can connect with, but to have a deck that is representative of the meanings, so like this is the Magician. It's about manifestation, and I can feel manifestation in the card. A lot of times if you get keyword decks, or if you get like thematic decks, like for example, like the Last Unicorn deck. I love the Last Unicorn, but if the pictures on the cards don't match the meaning of the card, it makes it a lot harder as a beginner. So right here, the High Priestess Intuition, you can tell that this is an intuitive card, right? So having a deck that really reflects the meanings of the cards in the imagery themselves helped me a lot. Vanessa says, I read really well for myself and gain a lot of amazing insights, but I struggle reading for others. That's interesting, Vanessa. Let me know if you have any questions about that. We will have time for Q&As too at the end, guys. Okay, so yeah, James says it's good using keywords. I can't read the ones that I wrote, but I've kind of learned the keywords anyway. Yeah, that can be a little bit interesting, right? Reading the keywords that you write. I like to write mine really small, but you can write it in a Sharpie and write it fairly big. I did that on my Oracle cards, and that's fine too. So anyway, number one is to stop trying to memorize, to assign keywords to each card. By the way, I have a keyword cheat sheet. If you guys drop the word keyword in the chat, I will go ahead and get you that. But in addition to, the keywords, is to build a study deck. So I'm going to show you the study deck. I went ahead and set up my camera so that you guys could see it. So basically, what you want to do is sit down and label every single one of your cards. And so then you have an entire deck that is labeled with your keywords so that you can use it while you're studying until you feel like you have a really good understanding of all of the different meanings of the cards. So I think that this was one of the biggest keys that helped me. In fact, because I was used to reading with keywords already, just putting the keywords on them enabled me to be able to go live, do live readings. I feel like the first couple of weeks after I labeled my deck, I did free readings. I was constantly giving away free readings on my TikTok lives. It was really important for me for practice, but also to give back to my community. And so I think for the first couple of weeks, I only did free readings, and then I started doing paid readings. Plus, I would do giveaways on all of my lives. So I got a ton of practice, and I had what you would call probably high pressure practice, right? Because I was doing that practice live in front of everybody. And like I said, since I was already good at using keywords as a jumping off point, this was very easy for me, and I was able to do readings right away after labeling. Now, something that really helped me is over the days, and I suggest doing like 1-2 cards a day, like not overwhelming yourself with this step, because this is a bit of a practice, right? So after you've done labeling your study deck, the thing that I suggest is to journal about your keyword. So the better you can understand the keyword, the better you can understand how it relates to your own lived experience, the better you're going to be in terms of reading with it. And so I'm going to show you guys exactly, dealing with the tech here, guys. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I have my students do in the High Priestess Tarot School. You don't have to have this document. This is a PDF that I offer in the High Priestess Tarot School, but and I also offer it physical on Amazon. But you don't have to have it. You can just do this in a notebook if you'd like. Let's see. Building a relationship with your cards. By the way, in the High Priestess Tarot School, I do have these videos talking about every single one of the cards. I show multiple decks and I talk about each of those cards. The keyword that I chose, some other additional keywords that would be really nice. I suggest that you like sit down with your, if you're in the school, sit down with your deck, watch the video, decide on your keyword while you're watching me talk about the card. This is a really nice and easy way to like sit down and create your study deck. I always do that. I close it out and then, okay, let's see here. So for those of you who are in the school, if you haven't done this process yet, it is in the Building a Relationship with Your Cards module. And this is such an important part. So we're just going to click on the digital download. This is such an important part of the journey because the keywords themselves are great. And if you have a lot of experience with coaching or teaching, that might be enough. But I actually took it myself to the next level, in which I sat down and I asked these types of questions about my keyword. So for example, the Fool, my keyword is risk. By the way, the Tarot Reflections Journal does have some sample keywords on them as well. So I would put risk here. What is your relationship to this keyword? So basically, you're just kind of journaling about what does risk mean to you? What is your relationship with risk? Are you afraid of risk? Is it exciting? Does it bring about new adventures? What does it mean when you don't take a risk, right? So just kind of thinking about like, what is your relationship to the keyword? When have you experienced this energy? What were you thinking and feeling? This will get you kind of into the mindset of where you were at when you were thinking about taking a risk. What happened when you didn't? What happened when you did? This allows you to start to make real life associations with the card itself through that keyword, right? So instead of memorizing meanings, you're building a relationship with the card, one keyword at a time. Now, over time, and then what advice would you give that version of you? What advice would you give somebody that you pulled this card for? So then from there, you could actually make a practice of this and go through multiple keywords because maybe you read the Fool as risk at first, and maybe you start to find other ways that you're noticing yourself read the Fool. Maybe you had a client who was like, oh yeah, this reminds me of this part of my life, and you have a whole different concept for what the Fool might mean. Also, if you're in the school, don't forget that you guys have access to all of the cards here, where you can click on it, you can see a definition of it, you can see some sample keywords, and you can see what everybody else has said about it. We've talked a lot about symbolism in the community and things like that. So you can always pop in to these sections of the school too, to really explore a card if you're having any sort of difficulties with it. But basically what you can do is you can come in and you can explore a second keyword with it. You can come back later and say, okay, I'm kind of noticing this other thing. Maybe it's like the innocence. Maybe it's the adventure. Maybe you want to explore a second keyword with that card. So this actually enables you to build multiple associations within your life with that card. And you just really expand your entire relationship with it, your entire way that you read with it, right? So this process is something that if you've skipped, and especially if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you have skipped this process, this is your invitation to come back to it, because this is the number one thing that's going to really connect those keywords with your lived experience. Let's remove this and this. You're the opposite of Vanessa. Let's see. Let's check the Facebook comments, guys. Oh, bye, Amy. Good to see you. Oh, you're retired. Congratulations. I've learned that the longer I take to think about risks, the less likely I am to do it. Are you like I gotta just jump in and not think about it too much, James? I've kind of slowed down on reading tarot. My life got busy again. Yeah, that happens, you know. It depends on why you want to read tarot too. Sometimes it's you just don't have enough time or energy or bandwidth to take on something like this. But I think that there's a way to do it at your own pace, right? I think that's what I like so much about the High Priestess Tarot School is it's built so that you can kind of go at your own pace. You can label your study deck, you can, do some readings, then you can move on to the next module where we're talking about doing readings. So you don't have to go from starting to I'm an advanced tarot reader in like a day. In fact, I think that it, even if you were pretty committed to going through the lessons in the High Priestess Tarot School, just the High Priestess Tarot School course, not even any of the bonus courses, I think it would take at least 2 months, 2.5 months to get through all of them. I think that if you were on an advanced schedule, like you were spending 10 hours a week or so, you could get through it in a month. But at the same time, it's something that takes practice. It's almost like exercise, right? Like weightlifting. It takes time to build that relationship with anything. And it takes dedication with that time. It takes actually devoting attention to it. You can't just learn it and then just put it away. And you've got to keep working with it. You've got to keep growing it. It's not, I think that so many people think of tarot as a skill, but it's a practice, right? Yeah, so let me make sure that I hit all the points that I had. I wanted to talk about 3 things. We talked about building a study deck, not trying to memorize, journaling your cards. All right, so does anybody want the keyword cheat sheet? Go ahead and drop keyword in the comments and we'll drop it. I'll drop the link to it. So the keyword cheat sheet is good too. It gives you like several options when it comes to your keywords. So all 78 cards are on here. These are actually the same keywords. I do believe that they're the same keywords that are in the Tarot Reflections Journal. So if you want like a bigger version, if you go to the journal, you're going to notice like it's slightly bigger, a little bit easier to see here. And you guys have the tarot cheat sheet too in the school as well. Keywords, you got it. And then if you guys have any questions, I definitely have time for questions. In the High Priestess Tarot School, like I said, we not only have the High Priestess Tarot School, which has, let's see, I think it's 22 lessons, 32 lessons, but we also have our bonus trainings. Let me just go to the courses here so you can see them. The Magic of Tarot and Astrology, the Esoteric Key, Enlightened Priestess Path, Prosperous Priestess Path, and Majestic Priestess Path. So we have all of these additional trainings as well for you to like get into tarot and astrology. This is all about symbolism. This one's all about intuition. This is all about becoming a tarot reader professionally. And the Majestic Priestess Path is all about the court cards. So I feel really good about all of these bonus courses that are in the High Priestess Tarot School too. If anybody has any questions about it, feel free to ask. But let me drop that keyword cheat sheet link. think it'll let me put it on the YouTube video as well. So I have dropped it. Let me know if you can't find it or can't get to it, but I did drop it in both of the areas for you guys. Hi, Maggie. I keep one of your cheat sheets on my computer wallpaper. Yes, I love that. You know what? That's what I used to do. So once I stopped, it's not that I didn't still use these cards in my TikTok lives, but I actually started playing around with other decks. I think when you're selling your readings and you're trying to have people be excited and interested about them, using new decks can be really fun for your audience. And so when I was trying new decks and I didn't have my keywords on them, it felt so good to have, because I have 2 monitors. I was also going live through my phone, but I have 2 monitors, and I would put on my big monitor. It was not nearly as pretty as these ones, Maggie. But basically it was like a list of keywords for each and every one of the cards, so that as I was doing the readings, I could look up at my monitor and I could see some of those keywords. And so for Tarot Treatsmas is when I created all of those cool desktop wallpapers. And those are really awesome, right? There's a lot to choose from too. I think I made like quite a few designs. And I made a couple extras this year too. I'm so glad that you're still using it. I think for me, each card has multiple layers. You're totally right, Vanessa. And keywords, and without knowing someone's life, it's difficult for me to connect. I also struggle with asking the right questions. So you should have gotten the questions worksheet, Vanessa. That is so helpful. So that was with Tarot Treatsmas in both years. If you don't have that, Vanessa, let me know and I'll make sure you get that. But I think for me, when it comes to asking questions, we can use the keyword, right? So for example, let's say the High Priestess Tarot School. When you feel into the energy, some of it has to do with the card combinations that are down too, whether or not you read inversions and things like that. But what I do is I feel into the energy and then I ask a question. So I might say, like, where are you not listening to your intuition? Or maybe I'll say something like, have you gotten some intuitive hits that you're not acting on? You know, like kind of depending on some of the other cards that are down. But I kind of use the keywords for my question, if that makes sense. But we do have the questions. It's never been released anywhere other than Tarot Treatsmas, but it's called the Tarot Questions. Basically, what I did is I created a guide with lots of different questions for each card. Tarot Treatsmas. I'll see what it's titled. Tarot Conversations is what I named it. It is. It's so nice to take a peek when you need it. So if you have this, Vanessa, this Tarot Conversations has a lot of different questions that you could ask. You could even try like scheduling some free readings with people and asking these questions, or start using these questions in your own reading for a little bit. But here for the High Priestess, has your gut been telling you something? This is pretty similar to what I said, right? Like, has your intuition communicated something that you haven't taken a step on yet? Do you feel like there's something beneath the surface that's waiting to be understood? I even have like little take it furthers here. So like the Empress, have your Aquarian set a self-care goal for the day. So maybe you start to notice that a lot of the cards are pointing to a lack of self-care. Maybe your client says that they haven't done enough self-care. So maybe it's about sitting with them and talking about their self-care options and what would feel supportive to them. Sometimes I spend an entire 30-minute session on pretty much one card. Like if I uncover a problem, or the funniest thing, if I get like an Ace of Swords, I might spend the entire half hour right? So that's something to think about too, is like when you find a card that feels like it's truly the core of the person you're reading for, you can concentrate more on it than on everything else as well. And something that I found really supportive, especially at the beginning, is we would start talking about the reading and the cards, and then I would tell what a card meant. And I'd say, I don't know how this applies to your situation. And 9 times out of 10, my client would tell me how that applies to their situation, right? So I would let them come up with the interpretation for themselves. And what's really great is you're really empowering them to understand what's true and real for them. And you're empowering them to pull from their intuition instead of putting a bunch of pressure on yourself to have to know it all, right? Oh, you're so welcome, Vanessa. That is so exciting. Oh, yeah. You've got this. Practice definitely helps as well. The more you practice, the easier it will get. 250 questions. Oh, you have several Lenormand decks now. Oh, are you in Sacred Vision Society, James? Are you in the Creator Vault? We have 225 questions. That's one of my freebies. I can drop the 225 questions. Do you want to talk about how to use them? This is huge too. I feel like this is one of the after you've got your study deck, right? This is for an after your study deck sort of thing. Let me share a link to it. Oh, I have a version that actually has a cover page and a training video. Let me click on that one. So once you've gotten your study deck completed, these 225 power questions are amazing because what it does is it helps you focus on a frame for your card. I think one thing that does feel really hard about reading tarot is you have this card and you're like, okay, but what does it mean? Yeah, I have intuition, but what does it mean, right? So if you have pulled the card with a question, what new habit can I develop to support my personal growth? Then intuition might mean meditation. So having good questions that you can frame your cards, so using them as pre-frames before you pull your card takes so much pressure off the card, right? Because intuition can mean anything, but if it gets pulled after you ask one of these power questions, it's really easy to interpret. So this is really big too, right? How can I create more harmony with my family? You already know the answer to that. It's come to you. You know it. You're just not taking action, right? Something like that. Where can you find that book again? The Tarot Questions, the Tarot Conversations, it's only come out during Tarot Treatsmas. So if you saved all of your Tarot Treatsmas stuff, Yvette, it should be in wherever you save those. But, you know, you guys are both in CEO Circle, so just let me know. I can send you links to those. Okay, so anyway, this is such a big part of, you know, the reading. And in the course, if you're in the High Priestess Tarot School, I'll send you guys. If you guys want the 225 power questions, just drop 225 and I'll put that in the comments too. But in here, one card pulls is when I introduce the 225 power questions. So I do have this video for members. It is slightly different than the video that is in the guide, I think. But basically, you don't even have to use these for one card pulls. The 225 power questions, I personally, as a more advanced user, love to pull 3 cards for one question. And then you're kind of dealing with card combinations, right? Once you start doing that, you're actually learning tarot card combinations, because you're saying, how can I combine these 3 cards to answer this one question? So that's where to find it in the school. Let me grab the link for you guys. Let me drop it over here on Facebook too. Oh, you are in the creator of the vault. That's amazing. How do you like it, James? I'm going to be doing a video next week at the same time on this new Notion dashboard that I created for the creator vault. It's not in the vault yet, but it will be by the time we talk next week. And I'm going to talk about how I've been using it and how much I've been loving it. And I also prepared a worksheet for people who don't want to use Notion. And we're going to talk about how I plan my business week in 20 minutes a week. Any other questions, guys, before we wrap up? Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here for my breakout Facebook Live. Since I just haven't been on Facebook for so long, and I've been really missing that connection. And so I thought it would be fun to do a live here in the group. By the way, if you're in the Facebook group, let's talk about that just a little bit before I jump off of here. I have decided for the weekly live that I'm going to be putting the replays for them into guides. So we are combining all of my loves within the Facebook group, which includes tarot learning and it includes spiritual business. So I wanted some way to make it easy for people to kind of figure out which to go to, right? Because some of you might only be interested in tarot. Some of you might only be interested in business. Some of you, a lot of people who are here with me right now, I know you're interested in both. But you'll be able to find them here as they get posted. I'm going to put them right in the guides. If you're on the phone, you have to hit like the 3 dots to get to the guides or something like that. But they're going to go here in the guides. And so every week I'll be doing a video and those will land here in case you want to catch them, in case you want to catch any replays. Obviously, you'll be able to find them in the group just like this as well, as long as I'm able to make sure the tech works. Like today, I was able to get the tech to work, but it's not necessarily easy to stream into the Facebook groups anymore. So just in case I'm not able to, I will still take the YouTube video and I will put it into the Facebook group. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so it doesn't look like I have any questions on Facebook. Any other questions before we wrap up? Thanks for being here. It's been so nice. It's been nice to connect. And if you want to learn something in the Facebook group, there is a pinned post there that I've asked what you would like to learn. So if you have a topic you would like me to do a video on, come here to the Start Here post and just comment. By the way, there's some freebies here. Just comment with what you'd like to see a video on. And I will be checking periodically over there as I'm planning out my videos in the group. Alrighty, guys. Have a really great day. It was nice to see you, and I'll see you guys all soon. Bye.